Okay, so we just gonna jump right in because Dr. Kimmy and I have done this many times before on the podcast, and she has a lot of updates. Like it has been a long time since you've been on, actually,
I
and
know.
so
How long
much
has
has
it been?
changed. Oh God,
Probably a good 2 years or something. Some mess like that.
oh, maybe. Oh, maybe. But yeah, you have since then like new diagnosis ADHD, changed your whole business structure, changed your identity like 50 times,
Changed
like
my hair.
change your hair. You already know that's a sign of something coming, right? When a
That's true.
black woman changes her hair, you know a
Facts.
reemergence is happening. So
Facts.
yeah, let's
Facts.
just get into the tea. Like give us the update, like the arc of what the last, I don't even know. I don't even want to say 2 years. Let's just say the last 6 months is probably
Okay.
enough.
Okay. So yeah. So why don't I start? I'm trying to think where is the best place to start. So why don't we start with last year? So 2025, like late 2025.
Perfect. Welcome to the Blk Doctor Collective Podcast. We as Black doctors are in a unique position. We can change our communities, healthcare, and the world. Of course, we start by changing the way we see and value ourselves. I'm your host, Dr. Sheneka Horn, pediatrician and physician coach, travel extraordinaire. I am so happy to have you here and listening. So let's get into it.
So I had essentially shut down my business in terms of like, so I run a coaching company called the Doctor Coach School. And I had decided that something wasn't quite right. Something wasn't quite working with the company. And I need to like take a step back from that. That was a hard decision because I don't take steps back. Like, that's not what we do. That's not what we do. We are, and
Yeah.
I know we're going to talk about this, but it's like, I got to be moving forward. I always got to be
Oh,
progressing. The next thing has to be bigger than the last thing. Like, it's
yes,
always this like
1,000%.
pressure to keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
So when I made the decision to take a step back, I felt a lot of relief, but also shame in that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm so glad I did it, but it was really hard. So taking a step back, like, what did that look like for me? It looked like I just was like, not okay. I was like, something is not right. I'm like, is this perimenopause? Is this just stress? Am I just getting older? Is it like, what is
What is
happening?
it?
I just didn't feel
Yeah.
right in my body and in my brain. So I didn't really figure it out until I took a step back and literally like shut down my launches, stopped selling anything, and just like, sat with myself. And I mean, like this interview is being brought to you by Vyvanse. Okay, because normally, you know me, I'd be like chasing like all of it. And okay, wait, hold on. Let me come back to like, so I'm like, wait, what does this mean? And I was so confused. And it's almost like the moment I had the thought, do I have ADHD? It's almost like, I don't know how to describe this, but my brain almost like breathed a sigh of relief and was like, oh, thank God, we don't have to hold it together anymore. Let's go
Yeah.
nuclear. Let's
Or
just
like
like,
there's an answer for this? Yeah.
yeah. And I describe it like this. If you're out for a walk and you roll your ankle, so you twist your ankle and it hurts, but you can still walk on it and you can make it home. But once you get home and you sit down
Mm.
and then you try to stand up again and your ankle is like, no, ma'am, no,
Hell
sit.
no.
Yeah. So it was that, right? Like I'm going, compensating, masking. I'm thinking, I mean, this is just how I am. And then once my brain was like, oh, there might be like
This
a
might be a
reason for
thing.
this.
Yeah.
This is a thing. It was like me sitting down with that ankle, and my brain was like, no, we staying down. We do not pass go, do not collect $200. Like it was like, no man. So it's like I just became so dysregulated. So like
Yeah.
I'm not sleeping well. I'm like all over the place, emotionally breaking down. Thankfully, I had also been away from my company. We take all of December off every year. So I was away, and that was great because I just could not function. I really couldn't function. And so at the end of the year, so December 31st, so December 30th, I think it was when I got the diagnosis. December 31st, I cut off all my hair and dyed it blonde.
See,
Yeah.
it's always on the precipice of a new identity. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like, you know what's funny about this whole process? It's amazing, honestly, that you even got to a diagnosis, right? Because I think like it's so easy to discount Black women like us, right? Like you are a high achieving, right? Like you got through medical school, residency, had a career in
Mhm.
medicine, are an entrepreneur, six-figure CEO, like all of these things, right? Family, like you have all of these things. So
Mhm.
like the immediate thing is, oh, but no, there's no way, right? So I think that's first.
Mhm.
Then like we're in midlife, right? So then everything is
Mhm.
perimenopause.
Everything is menopause.
So my it's so funny. I went to the doctor like for a physical and I said something and she's like, "Girl, everything is not perimenopause." And I was like, and you know it's a Black
Sure.
woman. So she's like, "Come on now. Like everything cannot it just cannot be." And I was like, "But what do you mean everybody attributes everything to menopause?"
Especially nowadays. Yeah.
Right. So it's like you could have easily just chalked that up to being like, "Oh, well maybe it's perimenopause."
Mhm.
Right? And then like I just feel like there's just so many things, and then it's like the end of the year. So December is this time of year where everyone is feeling, reflective. And sometimes that reflection leads us to feel like, oh, I just need to like do something completely different, drastically different. Like there's just so many elements I feel like in your story that I'm amazed that you even got to
You
the
know what it
diagnosis.
is? That's actually a really I never thought about that. You know what I think it is? I think that ADHD is why I got to the diagnosis because one of the things we will do is we will hyper fixate on something,
Mhm.
child.
Yeah,
So once my
that's the
brain
thing.
got that little hit of like, this could be that, it was like, that's all
Yeah,
I could think about. That's all I could focus on. It was like hyper fix,
have to
get
do
me to
this.
the
Yeah.
appointment, get me to the appointment, get me to the appointment. So
Mhm.
I think a big part of it really was like God's providence because just the fact that I saw that TikTok and I didn't scroll past it, if I had scrolled past it, I wouldn't be where I am today. Cause yeah, so I think a lot of it is not me. And then some of it is like my brain just being like, okay, ADHD, do we have it? Do we have it? Do we have it? So yeah, but you're right. I mean, I will say though, I do think that perimenopause, there's a component of it. I will say,
Or
I do think like
yeah, I mean, I think
in
it could worsen your symptoms
yes,
all,
it
yeah,
worsens it or like
amplifies it.
removes the masking. Like you can't mask as well.
Mm,
Same like when
yeah.
you get pregnant. You can't mask as well when you're pregnant. I talk about, I mean, you've heard my story so many times, Sheneka, and it's like, and then in 2016, I got pregnant and everything fell apart. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, of course everything fell apart. Like your hormones are all over the place, right? So I do think
yeah.
that that's a part of it, but just the fact that you're right that I didn't just say, oh, I guess it's just perimenopause. Oh well, yeah, that's I'm really grateful. That's a huge blessing. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it really, I think so many people need to listen to that moment too, because I'm sure there's like a million people discounting what they're experiencing right now for a whole multitude of reasons. And, I always think explore all the possibilities,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I would say don't tell yourself no. And I use that in the framework of negotiation, but I think it applies to anything, right? Like
Yeah.
don't tell yourself no, it's not this thing without actually having given it at least a moment of true evaluation.
Yeah. No, I agree. I love that. Don't tell yourself no. Yeah, my mom used to say something similar. Like, she would say, let other people tell you no, but the moment you say no to yourself, then it's all over. So yeah, I'm so grateful. Now I will say that my first psychiatrist, because I am heavy on the air quotes, high functioning, and because
It's a
essentially
diagnostic disaster.
I'm not a little white boy. And when I was a little girl, I still wasn't a little white boy. So he's asking me questions and he's like, so when you were in school, did you get in trouble a lot? Were you always being disciplined? No, no.
No.
I was the good kid. I was the bookworm. I was the no. So he was like, well, it's not 100%, slam dunk diagnosis.
Yeah.
So we're not going to put you on a stimulant. And I was like, huh? What? So my first few weeks of it was like terrible because he put me on, what's the other one? Stratera. He put me on Stratera. My body did not like Stratera. I thought I was depressed. I was like, if I stay on this, it is not going to be good. Like I couldn't even speak. So it was like trying to find a psychiatrist who would actually listen to me. Like, yes, use the DSM-5, like that's fine. But like also like
your prompts can't be white centric.
Right, which is like revolutionary apparently. So by the time I found a psychiatrist who was like, okay, you have ADHD, he also would, I kid you not, Sheneka, my first appointment with him was exactly 4 minutes long. Now, I'm a physician, so that's fine with me, but I'm thinking about everyone else. I'm like, is this what you think? So oh, okay, all right.
But sound like them weight loss appointments. When you sign up for a GLP-1, some people are like, do you have any pre-existing conditions? Do you have any check? Great. We're going to send you medicine. You're like, what?
My company for that didn't even get me on an appointment.
Oh, that's lovely.
It was a questionnaire.
Yeah, I did this most recent one I just did was a questionnaire. The first one I did was with an actual MD and I had to go get labs. And it was like a thing.
That's rare. They
probably don't
do that anymore.
I didn't even go back to them because I didn't want to go back to getting no labs. So
Exactly. Oh my gosh. So it's like a process of figuring out what I want to be on, like what dose works, et cetera, et cetera. So in the process of all of that, now we're like looking at January, February. I'm like, okay, I'm thinking, and I'm like, okay, so I have ADHD. And somehow I have had a successful career, transitioned to a successful business. I'm homeschooling my children. I'm like, how was I able to do all of this? And I realized that a lot of the tools and the strategies that I implement for myself and that I teach my clients like you are part of how I was able to make it through with crippling ADHD. So, of course, I did the ADHD thing of let's start something new. Hyperfixate on something new at this point, right? Yeah. So my brain was like, yeah, let's just start a new venture. How about that? Like we're kind of barely surviving everything else. This is a perfect time to start something new. So at that time, I was like, okay, I really want to help that subset of people, like the high achieving woman, the high achieving Black woman who you're in this high powered career, you have this business, you're a physician, you're whatever you are, but you have ADHD or you suspect it. And you're like, how do I navigate this? Like, it's starting to become crippling. I feel overwhelmed all the time, And of course, it was like, I'm going to go full speed ahead with this. And I decided to develop a program, which I'm actually really, really proud of, even though I'm going to tell you some shifts that I've made in that plan. But I sat down on this like marathon session one night because it's always just one night, your brain just can't shut off. And you're just like, I just have to get all of this on paper. And so I came up with a name, which is a Tenti, came up with the idea or the concept that I really want this to be an app or a tool, like a coach in your pocket, essentially, who can help kind of coach you through your executive dysfunction and help coach you through the hard days. You can't always have a coach on standby, but like coaching, especially self-coaching and receiving coaching has been like
Yeah.
paramount in getting me to where I am. So it was like, okay, full speed ahead. We're going to develop an app. So now I'm like, oh, I'm a tech founder. I'm a tech founder.
Yeah.
What does that even mean? What am I doing? I don't know what's going on. Okay, so I have to get funding and I have to. So I think that's when you and I connected because it had been a while since we spoke. And I told you about that. And you were like, that sounds incredible. You should definitely do that. And I was like, I'm going to do that. Let's go. So I ran this whole challenge and I signed up my first members into the founding members. I now call them the inner circle. But yeah, it was like I went down this whole path. Now, what should I talk? What do you have questions? I'm like, I feel like I could just ramble. So like, do you have questions or do you want to like see where I want to go next? I just feel like the past 6 months have been like 5 years. So I'm like, I don't even know where to go. I don't know.
I
Maybe the
think
vibrancy is
like
also wearing off.
I also just, I mean, I think, anytime we have conversations about what's happening in someone's life, I think I try to remember, like, okay, who's receiving it, right? And what are our counterparts struggling with? Which, is a multitude of things. I just like this concept of, I really want to talk about the identity component for sure. The fact that you were like, okay, I was shutting down things, I was discovering this new thing, and also returning to physician roots and the challenge of that. So, yeah.
Yeah. So like around this time, I made the decision I was going to pause my company, the Doctor Coach School. I knew it wasn't going to be gone forever, but I was like, at this time, I really want to focus on Attenti. And I was under no illusion that it would take a while to like get Attenti to a place where it could be like a source of income. So it was like, well, what else can provide a source of income for me? And it was like, you do have an MD. You could actually work as a physician, which for those of you who are listening, I quit clinical medicine in 2021. So it's been 5 years since I've seen a patient. And I was actually having this conversation with my husband. He's the one that actually brought it up first. He was like, do you think you could go back and start seeing patients again? And I was like,
I
oh,
love partners for this because I also think that they might have the idea and then they're also aware of how we will potentially receive that and all the baggage that it takes. We talk about this ad nauseum, right? Like being a physician is an identity, right? And in order to stop being a physician, there is a whole lot of divorcing yourself from that
oh my
identity.
gosh.
Like you have to change even how you envision the future, right? It's everything you've built yourself up to be and then how you're planning to live your life. And so like you've gone through that whole arc and they've probably, I mean, Adrian's definitely been with you that long. So, right, the whole becoming and then letting it go and then how, like the struggles of the system and the reasons a lot of us leave is because the system is absolute garbage and the
Uh-huh.
employers are absolute garbage, right? So I just love that he's like, do you think
Yeah,
this
it was very
way,
hedged. It was like,
right?
so I was
Would
wondering
you
if
happen to
you thought,
possibly, could you potentially, possibly, maybe consider
yeah,
this? Not saying you have to do it, but yeah, but I just feel
yeah,
like that's what I hear when you say that question because I'm like, I know he knows how you feel about medicine, how a lot of us feel about medicine. And then to
yeah,
even like, I'm like, that's real love because, some people would just be like, I ain't even barking up that tree. Like, right?
yeah. No, I mean, yeah. And he was like, I know how it was before.
Right.
However, you're not the same person anymore. And the first
Mhm.
time he said it, I was just like, categorically no. Immediately
Right.
no. No, 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 no. But as he brought it up, I was like, okay, I'm willing to consider. I'm willing to consider. But it was hard because I remember going live in the hospital garage right before walking into one of my last shifts in the hospital. I'm a peds hospitalist. And I remember going live and being like, I feel so much grief because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like since the age of 5, I have wanted to be a physician. I
Yeah.
made it. It was not what I thought it was going to be by any
At
stretch of the
all.
imagination.
Oh.
I'm so ready to
Yeah.
be done with this. And yet, who am I without
Mm.
this identity? Like, who am I if I'm not
Yeah.
a physician actively seeing patients and
Yeah.
actively working in that setting? And I remember just being like, I really honestly, and even though I had my business at that time, I was still like, I don't really feel like I know who I am without this. It just
Yeah.
felt, and so for a few months, I felt like kind of dazed and confused and lost and like, who am I?
Yeah.
And it took a lot of sitting with myself, processing the grief. I actually like said bye to medicine. I said
Yeah.
my goodbyes to
Yeah.
medicine.
I think,
And yeah.
and say, I think being a doctor is like armor in a certain, it
Mm,
doesn't armor you from the healthcare system, right?
no.
But it's almost like, even from the time that you say you want to be one, it changes the way you are perceived and the way you are received by other people, right?
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things where it's like, especially as a Black woman, I think people are so quick to discount you or invalidate your experience or like, just there's just so much that you're always constantly navigating. And from the time that you're like, oh, I'm going to be a doctor. Oh, I'm in medical school. Oh, I am a doctor. It's like people totally process you differently.
100%.
I actually think that that is the reason why doctors don't have a better healthcare outcome, like maternal mortality, is because we anticipate having that same effect, but it's inside the healthcare system that constantly invalidates us.
Mm.
Like,
Mm.
because wherever we go as a physician, it's like like whatever room you're in, even if it's like a non-medical, especially if it's a non-medical space, actually, you are like, well, I'm a physician, and everyone's like, oh, like how they treat you is just so different. The energy and the conversation is so different, right? People are not, that becomes your primary thing, not like Black, not like women, right?
Yeah.
It's like
And not
whoever
Black
you're,
woman.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right, the dual. So it's like, oh, but she's a doctor. Oh, but like I have people that will be like, oh, this is Dr. Sheneka in like non-medical setting. Like that's who you are, right? Because they can see you as Black women, but that becomes the thing that they see. Like it's like a shield,
Yeah.
except inside of medicine, where it is
Yeah.
absolutely not shielding you from anything and it's really hurting you.
Anything.
And
Yeah.
it's the same thing, I think, with like the mortality rate, where it's like people go into these spaces thinking, well, but I'm a doctor and I will know how to. And they still treat you the same way they treat Black women because they don't care about you.
They do not care. They do
But
not
yeah,
care.
that was just like an
No,
aside as you were talking that I was like, this is why, like from the age of 5 to an adulthood, if you've been using this protective armor, it's very hard to remove that as a cloak and leave yourself exposed.
I remember I was at a church convention the same year I decided to step away from medicine. And I was in a meeting and we were like going around introducing ourselves and what we do, where we live, whatever. And so and there were a lot of healthcare professionals in the room. I think I was the only physician, or maybe there was one other person, but there were a lot of healthcare professionals. And so I remember when they got to me, I was like, hello, my name is Kimberly Reynolds, and I'm a physician, but I no longer practice medicine. I currently am running my own company. And I remember this lady who I know her. I actually grew up with her. She's older, but the look of disdain that she gave me, like
Yeah.
she turned around and was just like, what?
Yeah.
And I even feel like she almost rolled her eyes, and she's a nurse, right? I almost feel like she like rolled her eyes. And I
Yeah.
remember feeling this small. I was
Mhm.
like, oh my gosh, because I had said it with such gravitas. Yeah, and I'm no longer practicing medicine. And when she looked at me with disdain, I was
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness. I don't, like you said, I don't have that armor that, like, I'm
Mhm.
not that anymore. I'm
Mhm.
like stepping away from that on purpose.
Right.
Like,
And people think it's foolish because they're like, that's you have a power here that we don't have. How dare
that,
you put it down?
how dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you? I'll never forget. I got an inbox from someone and she was like, why would you do this? This was like my mother's childhood friend. So she saw me on Facebook talking about leaving and she was like,
Yeah.
it's almost like she was hurt, like offended.
Mhm.
How could you do this? Almost like, how could
Yeah.
you do this to me? And I'm like,
Right. Yeah, because
bam,
you have a role in other people's lives. This is a thing people underestimate. You have a role in other people's lives. And when
facts.
you no longer want to play that role, oh, people get pissed off. This is why people are like, oh, people treat me differently when I have money, when I don't have money, when I like it is an identity thing. People
Yeah,
identify you very narrowly. And when you no longer are that for them, they don't want nothing to do with you.
100%. So I always say that like, you didn't realize you were, but you signed
Mhm.
a contract with the
Yeah.
people in your life to show up a certain way. Like I,
Right.
Dr. Reynolds, I am the physician in
Yeah.
the family or in the community, and this is how I show up. And so when you decide to change, when you decide to step away from that, what you are doing is you have now broken a contract. And people don't
Oh,
like
yeah.
when contracts are broken. There, when contracts are broken, there needs to be repercussions, right? Like you're
Mhm.
gonna have to pay because you broke the
Mhm.
contract. And so I broke everybody's contract. I mean, I'm talking family stopped talking to me. Friends were just
Crazy.
like, I'm confused.
Yeah.
But it was like an incredible time, but also a really lonely time.
Yeah.
And so thinking about going back into that, it's like, what are they going to think? I had built up this new identity.
And new
Dr.
armor.
Kimmy, the entrepreneur. Exactly.
Mhm.
This is my new, I'm a CEO. I run
Mhm.
a successful company. I do this, I do that. And so
Yeah.
I'm about to step back into a world, again, on purpose, of my own volition, that I made a huge deal about stepping away from. And the first thought
Mm.
is always, what are they going to think?
Yeah. Oh, our amygdala loves to mind read. You know, mind reading is her specialty.
Oh, for sure. What are
So
they going to say?
she's not just asking what people are gonna think. She's
Yeah,
telling you all the
I'm
things
telling
that
you,
people are gonna think,
they're
even if
going to
no one
think
has ever said that to you in their life
and would never, would
and would
never.
never.
But here comes my brain like, girl, they're going to say that you are a no good,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
shifty person. And I don't know what. I'm just like, so it was
Yeah.
like, am I going to like willingly sign up for this?
Yeah. And
Okay.
again, this is tied to being Black women because we let white men do this all the time.
Oh, they will hop in, hop out. They play double dutch. They like, I'm in, I'm out. Like,
Yeah.
they don't
I
care.
failed. I like, do we not remember the metaverse? Mark Zuckerberg just launched like how many billions of dollars into creating a world. It totally flopped. We don't hear about it at all anymore.
100%. I remember watching this documentary. This was like when I was like all in on Attenti, and I'm like, I'm gonna go fundraising. So I'm like looking for documentaries and videos about fundraising.
Yeah.
That guy who started WeWork,
Oh, yeah.
that man was crazy. And he legit got all these people to give him hundreds of millions of dollars based off of a lie.
Yeah.
And I was just like, they just get to like say stuff, and people just it just becomes true because they said it.
What's the one with the island? They were gonna have a party on an island.
Oh,
Yeah.
Firefest.
Yes. It's fine. And they came back like
They're
to
doing
host
it again.
something. That's
Yes.
what I'm saying. It's like we are here holding ourselves to these crazy standards of we're not allowed to shift. What does it mean if we go back? What are people going to say about us? And people do say stuff, right? It's not just like in our brain, right? There are things that our brain is telling us, probably amplifying it, but people are also judging us on those
Oh,
measures.
for sure.
And there are people out here wasting billions of dollars. What I'm doing costs you no money.
100%. 100%. Yeah. So I will say I'm still in the credentialing process. So I haven't fully stepped back in to the positions. I'm doing like per
But you
diem
had
and
to change.
locums and
You had to change a lot to even do this, right?
oh
Like,
yeah.
yeah, I would say, don't even say I'm not into it yet. No, you in it because you're doing steps to even get to credential.
That's
So
true.
you in
That's
here.
true. Because I had let my license lapse. So I had to get licensed again, which I'm so glad Adrian said what he said when he said it. Because if I had waited 6 more months, I would have been unable to be licensed again and would have had to take an exam that's like the equivalent of step 3, which is like all of medicine. So like I would have been studying internal medicine and OB-GYN and psych and all the things
Oh, God.
to try to get my license. So I'm so grateful that he said what he said when he said it, and that I said yes. And even though I felt some type of way, I still went through the process.
Yeah.
And then I had also let my board certification lapse. I didn't let it lapse. My ADHD caused it to lapse because that was during the period where I was like, do I have ADHD? And I already struggle with executive functioning. I struggle with tasks like that. Stay on top of your maintenance of certification credits. I don't do well with stuff like that. So I had not been keeping up with MOC. They had been sending me letters like, hey, your boards are about to lapse. I'm like, I'm sure I have time. And I didn't have time. So they lapsed on December 31st. And then I would have had to retake the exam in order to get certified again. So I had to do that. And so it was like all these things I had to do. And I was just feeling like, I was telling you when we were talking earlier, there was a period of time where I decided to take a step away from DCS. I decided to step back into medicine, but I hadn't done all the stuff yet, right? So I hadn't passed the boards yet and all of that. And then I had decided that I want to do a 10T, but I'm not at the point where I'm making money that I'm able to fund my life, or like I'm not there yet. So I just felt really lost. Who am I? Who am I?
Yeah.
I don't really have a thing right now,
Yeah.
which was so hard because I always have a thing. We always have a thing. There's always a thing. And I was like, I don't have a
answer to the
thing.
question. We always that
Yeah.
answer. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've had to do a ton of identity work.
Yeah. I was just gonna ask you, like, how does someone move through that, right? Like, what are some, if you had to be like, these are the top 3 things I would say that helped me move through this, what would you say?
Oh,
It doesn't
that's
have to be
good.
3, but it could be 5, whatever. But
It might be 1 or it might be 10. Let's see what comes up with. So I think that the first thing I had to do was recognize that I was I'm trying to find the words. I was trying to be busy to avoid the truth of what was happening in my brain. So it was a lot of busy work or scrolling social media, right? And so
yeah.
I think pausing and seeing the pattern and just being curious with myself. That's always the first step for me, is curiosity. Like, why am I scrolling TikTok for so many hours in the day? I just wonder what's going on. Sometimes when you're in it, you don't even realize you're in it. But if you can take even 30 seconds to take a step back and just ask yourself questions, not from a place of judgment, which is hard because sometimes you want to judge yourself, but just being curious, like, I wonder what's happening. I wonder what's going on. That was the first step for me, was being curious with myself, being willing to be curious with myself, and being available for anything that came up. So you and I were talking earlier that, like, when I finally sat down and lumped my brain out, like, I have this process I call the belief flow, but for everyone that's listening, it's basically like, you could think of it like a brain dump and also a feeling dump and also a doing dump. Like, what am I thinking? What am I feeling? What am I doing? What's happening in my life right now? What are the things I'm actually like creating? Like, when I sat down and did that, I was like, whoa, okay. I have a lot of thoughts and a lot of feelings, and especially the feelings that I'm like not letting myself feel, right? It's like, I'm scrolling social media because I don't want to feel those feelings. I'm doing all the busy work because I don't want to feel those feelings. And I had to just like allow myself to feel the feeling of lost. It's the only thing that comes to mind. Like, I felt lost and I had to allow myself to feel that for a bit. I didn't want to feel lost. So I was doing all the things to like wallpaper over that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually just recorded an episode where I was like, sometimes you just need silence. And we do a lot of things to buffer, right? I was like, you talk to other people, you're on social media, you're like doing all the things, but sometimes you just need to not have all of those, like all the noise. You need to
All
like
the inputs. Yeah.
filter out the noise, filter out the input, know that you don't have the answer, but sit in silence. Someone was saying how basically they were like trying to talk about the message that God puts on your heart kind of thing, right? And I was like, I don't think I can hear anything with all of the, like, I don't know what I feel. I don't know what, like, I have all the inputs. There's so much input that, like, can I even discern what is me? What is God? There's just so much noise.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And it wasn't until I did that and sat with myself that I then went out the process of saying, okay, what do I want? But I wouldn't have gotten there if I
Yeah.
was still spinning around and doing all the things. And so
Mm.
I asked myself, like, I made the decision and I said, I want to choose myself. So
Yeah.
another process I have called the action belief process, but I don't want to spend too much time on it. But basically, it's like building new beliefs through doing
Yeah.
actions. And the belief I wanted to build was, I'm chosen by God and I choose myself.
It's nice.
And so I was like, if I am choosing myself, right? If I believe at the core I'm chosen by God, therefore I get to choose myself. What does that
Yeah.
look like? And I just started, like, how often do we sit and just daydream?
I know. It's such a good activity. It's like, yeah, we don't do it enough.
We don't. We
We do it
don't.
as
I don't know.
kids and we lose it.
I was just about to say, I was the little girl who was always holed up in her room with a book or a daydream. I was either in a book or
Love
my
that.
brain was somewhere creating the world that I wanted to create for
Yeah.
myself. And interestingly, all the things I used to daydream about, like, I actually have, like, I am a physician, I have the family, like, I've done
That's
those things.
sweet.
And like, huh?
And it's so sweet.
It is. But we lose that as we grow up.
Yeah.
And so I would sit and I would spend large amounts of time at the gym, working out, and in the sauna, just daydreaming. I just allowed
Mm.
myself to daydream.
I also love that you're doing this in the setting of self-care, of like, like you still, even because that's the thing that when we feel lost, and this is kind of what I feel like I'm going through right now, or like when I'm off of a track that I don't think is like tracked, I don't want to do anything that feels indulgent or like,
Indulgent. Yeah.
yeah, I think indulgence is the right word, right? And sorry, I'm just emailing my little mentee. I'm supposed to meet her at 5, but I'm like, we running a little late. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, like I never want to do anything indulgent or that feels indulgent because it feels like I should not be here and that's what I need to focus all of my energy on. But that's not actually what leads us to the answer. It's not what leads us out of the spiral, right? It's like too much hyperfixation on creating a solution under duress does not lead to the best solution.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that you were like, oh, I'm going to still work out, take care of myself. And while I do that, I'm going to allow myself to daydream. That's the kind of care and compassion we need to give ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But when we are in something, sometimes it feels like a hard, like,
Yeah. Yeah. You feel like you're not allowed
yeah,
to do that. Although,
yeah,
like, who would be allowing you? We're the only person standing between us and like, doing something like that.
yeah,
But I will say it was hard. It was hard. It was hard to get myself to daydream initially. Now I do
yeah,
it. Now it's like nonstop. But it was hard to get back to that place because number one, it's not a skill that I had utilized for so long. It's just it. I think it's a skill, right? The reason we did it so much as kids is like we did it and then we just got good at daydreaming, and I just hadn't really done it. And
yeah,
so that was number one. And then also it's like, wait, so I get to just decide what I want and start picturing it. I don't know. Again, it was like me
yeah,
holding myself back from doing that. And so it
yeah,
took a while, but it has been incredible. I decided, I was like, oh, here's what I want. Because when I was like, oh, I'm going back to medicine, I deluded myself into saying, oh, I'm going to get a full-time job. No, no, no.
it don't gotta look like what it used to look like.
Right. Because my brain was just like, this is the only paradigm we know. Let's just
Mhm.
hop back into that.
Yeah,
Right. And it wasn't until I allowed myself to daydream where it was like, what do I want? If I'm choosing myself, what do I want?
mhm,
I
yeah,
want to create a career, not a career. I wouldn't even say a career. I want to create my practice as a physician to be flexible,
yeah,
to be like, I get to ramp it up when I want, and I get to
yeah,
scale it back when I want. And I get to travel and I get to see new places and I get to leave if I don't like it. Like, that's
yes,
what I want to do.
yeah. Yes
And
to
I
all of
didn't
the above.
even know that. Oh, sorry.
I said yes to all of the above.
Yeah. And I never gave myself permission to picture
Yeah,
that for me. Like, you and I are really good friends. And I know that you do locum, you coach on that. Like, I
yeah,
you start your coaching business. And I still didn't believe that that was something I could do.
yeah. It's still like it's still a process. Even for me, as the person who coaches about negotiation and opportunity, and it is still just a process. You still have to remember to utilize the process
A
or to like
100%.
figure out what my next step is. What you said earlier, I thought was also poignant. It's like as kids, we are a certain way. And as adults, when we should have more freedom, it's like the reverse, right? Now we have the freedom to create, we have the freedom to decide. We don't. We stick to the formulaic things that were laid out for us as children and how we were shaped that way. And it's the same with medicine. It's like you still have the opportunity to decide how your career is going to look, but you're going to go back to what you were told medicine is supposed to be. Like it's supposed to be this all encompassing 5 to 7 day a week job, like on call, nights, weekends, like the full gamut. That's what it is, you know? And it's like
Yeah.
we're given structure as kids to kind of try to keep us safe, but it also can be so confining when we don't know how to release that as adults.
Yeah. No, you're right. Sometimes I see this comment on social media where like, someone will go to like Japan for like a day just because they
Yeah.
wanted to. And people will
Yeah.
be like, I'm not using my free will enough. Like I have all
Yeah.
this free will and I'm not using it. And it was like a very similar thing. Like, why am I not
Yeah.
using my free will? Like, why am I putting myself back in a box that I don't necessarily have to be in?
Yeah.
I don't have to work full time as a physician. I
At
can
all.
create a flexible schedule for myself. Yeah, so I decided that. And I decided also when I sat down and said, you know, if I'm choosing myself, what do I want to choose? I
Mm-hmm.
realized that me stepping away from my business was also not something I wanted. I wanted to
Yeah.
do both. I wanted to be the
Mm-hmm.
physician slash scrappy entrepreneur who was like doing both. And
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
it's going to be a little stressful. And sometimes I'm going to probably
Yeah.
be like, why
Only
would
if
I do
you
such a thing?
only if you want it to be.
That's true. That's true. That is true. But like, there was something so beautiful about that time in my life when I was like working full time. I'm not doing that, but like when I was working,
Yeah.
building my business, and there was something about that
You
really
felt
fed me.
productive.
Yeah. Also, I have ADHD, and so my brain is a dopamine seeking chaos demon. So it's
Yeah.
like, let's chase the squirrel, let's chase the new thing. And
Yeah.
so I've decided to stop shaming myself for that. I like a little chaos in my life. I like
Yeah.
a little bit
I
of
need a little
chaos. So like,
pressure.
yeah, it's like, why not just introduce some controlled chaos to my
Yeah.
life? It's going to give my brain the dopamine that it needs to actually function. It's going to be a little fun. It's going to be a little stressful, but like thrive there. And instead of
Yeah.
trying to make myself neurotypical, instead
Yeah.
of trying to say I should just stick to one thing and go all in, no, I'm going to chase multiple things at the same
Yeah.
time a little bit right now because that's what
I
my
can do
brain
that.
wants. I
And I
can.
can, yeah.
Yeah. So I
All
just
about giving
decided to
yourself
stop fighting.
permission. Yeah. You literally are
Yeah.
just, yeah, grant yourself the permission to do things the way you want it. And I even don't even like the term doing it messy because you're not really doing it messy. It's just not
It's not
the
a straight
the
line.
straight, yeah, like the confined, boxed way that has been shoved down our throats on how to do something.
Exactly.
Oh
Exactly.
my goodness. I feel like, first of all, we've been talking for like a minute. So I think we need to do a part two
I'm
because
down. I'm
we
down.
got all the things to discuss.
I am down.
So I will say, because I think so many people are exactly where you are. And it's also where I am. I think, we're obviously on parallel journeys. We talk about this all the
Yeah.
time. But the things to take away, I think, are like you are allowed to change.
Yes.
You are allowed to feel grief about the change. Even if it's something you choose to do, it doesn't
Mhm.
mean that you will be 100% excited and happy about it without
Facts.
also feeling grief or the
Facts.
shift in the identity and the power of that. And that you're allowed to take care of yourself and be kind to yourself even when you feel lost, especially when you feel
Let me tell you, just I know we're wrapping up, but that
lost. No,
last
yeah.
point. So I am, or I was sedentary, right? Really for my whole life. And I made the decision almost 11 months ago now to start working out because I wasn't even like, oh, I want to like lose weight or I mean I did, but like that's not why I wanted to work out. I wanted to work out because I just wanted something for me. I
Yeah.
wanted a place and a space that felt like mine. And I again, I decided, and this was before the diagnosis, interestingly, that like I know my brain, even though I didn't have the label, I was like,
Yeah.
I
Doesn't
know.
change that much actually.
Right. No, for real. Seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously. I was like, I know that in order for me to stay consistent with this, I have to romanticize it because now I
Yeah.
know it's because I need to give myself dopamine. But like I was like,
Really.
how can I romanticize this? So I've created this
Yeah.
whole like routine around going to the gym and like I have my cute gym clothes and I have my gym bag and I have my stuff and my like my lock,
Yeah.
which is like fingerprint activated, like just unnecessary
Cool
stuff, but
stuff.
they make
Yeah.
me feel good,
Good.
right? And
Yeah.
so I've created this routine for myself. And when I say that has been absolute medicine
Yeah.
for me, like I do not know where I would be if I had not started that journey because on the days I was lost, on the days I was confused, overwhelmed, all the things, it's like I still had like my place to go for me. And so some sort of, it doesn't have to be the gym, but do you have a place? Do you have a space? Do you have a time? Do you have something that is yours and only yours, especially for those of you who are wives or your moms, or you have responsibilities, you have a significant other, you have a busy job. Like, what is your place? What is your space or your time or all three to like pour into yourself? I know it sounds cliche, but it's not. It is necessary. Like, you have to have that. You have to.
Yes.
You have to.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's going to manifest in some other way that's not great.
Oh, child. It's going to come out. And it's going to come out. So 100%.
Yeah. So let it at least be a good coping mechanism, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I think the things that are unanswered that we could probably do our next, session on is like, you figured a lot out. You are willing to make this change. So then like, what's next for you? What does that look like? How does someone daydream? So we are going to do a part 2.
Perfect.
We're going to talk about daydreaming. We're going to talk about how to pivot. We're going to talk about how to find dopamine in these processes that are not harmful.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I think that would be an amazing next episode.
I agree. I'm excited to share all of that. I have so much to share. So much.
Oh my God. So much to say. Okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you as always.
Of course.
And yes, everyone stay tuned for part 2. We coming back.
Yay. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to the podcast. And what I want you to do next is link us everywhere you can. Instagram at The Blk Doctor. Just become part of our collective. I want you here. Thanks. Until next time. Bye.